Ollie Cross, Chapter 29. Saturday morning, I made an official plan with Cedric to do some gaming at his house. I also made an unofficial plan to meet him outside the Qualls' place before that. This was my chance to do a little more digging without anyone else knowing about it. Cedric was like my man in the street. Since this stuff was harder for Ruby and Mateo to get away with, he was also my backup, my extra muscle, and maybe even my bodyguard after what happened with Khalil. I just need you to wait out here, I said when we got to Gabe's house. It's safe if we're both not inside. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not back in 10 minutes. Come and knock on the door. Cedric didn't look too convinced. You sure you know what you're doing? Yeah, I said. I'm looking for information about Gabe. Not what I meant, he said. It just seems like maybe you're getting a little carried away with the whole detective thing. Don't be stupid in there, okay? Sure, no stupider than usual, I said. He gave me a grin for that one, but I knew he was serious too. Then I crossed the street and went to knock on the door before he could try to talk to me out of it. I guess some part of me was expecting Mr. Qualls to answer, like last time, because I was a little surprised when a lady opened the door. Hi, are you Mrs. Qualls? I asked even though I knew it was her. She had Gabe's big eyes and a bunch of beaded dreads pulled back in a scarf. She was short, too, for a grown-up. I guess Gabe inherited his size from his mom, not his dad. Yes, she said. Can I help you? I'm a friend of Gabe's, I told her. My name's Ali, and all kinds of thoughts are flashing through my mind now. It was a whole change of plans moment that happened in about half a second. I was here a couple weeks ago, I said, just rolling with it, and I just wanted to come over and say I was sorry for bothering Mr. Qualls that day. Well, he's not here right now, she told me, so don't you worry about it. The truth is, Gabe doesn't have a lot of friends. It's sweet of you to stop by. So maybe I couldn't interview Mr. Qualls, but I still had an opportunity to get something done here. Is there any chance I could see Gabe's room? I asked. I know that might sound weird, but... Oh, honey, of course, she said. I could tell she thought I wanted to see it to help me feel better, but... Not because I was investigating anything, but I wasn't going to spell it out for her. Thanks, I said as she opened the door wider. I really appreciate this. I gave Cedric one last look over my shoulder. He was standing there eating a kudos bar and looking confused, but I just kept moving. The inside of the house was depressing as the outside. The curtains were closed and a couple of big candles were burning. It smelled like cinnamon and cigarette smoke in there. A big glass ashtray was overflowing with butts on the coffee table, and someone had punched a hole in the wall at some point. I was pretty sure I knew who. I tried to take it all in like a detective and not to get too sucked into anything else about it. Have you heard anything from the police? I asked, as casually as I could. Any new word about Gabe or whatever else? Mrs. Qualls shook her head, but just barely, like a heart to think about. Not a word, she said. I felt really sorry for her. She was obviously feeling low, and she didn't have to let me in like this. You can throw out your coat right there, if you like, she said, pointing to it at a chair by the door. It was pretty hot and stuffy in there, so I took her up on that and then followed her up some narrow stairs to the second floor. Gabe's bedroom door had a big Fuse ODG sticker on it, and the knob had been broken off at some point. The room itself was really small. It had one little window looking out onto 17th Street, and I could see Cedric pacing around outside. He looked up just then and gave me a look like, what the heck, bro? But I wasn't like I was going to start sending him hand signals, so I just turned away. The bed took up most of the room, but there was also a TV on the floor and a wire rack with some of the clothes piled on it. There wasn't a closet or a dresser, no books, not much anything else really, unless you counted all the Outpost screen captures he'd printed out and tacked them up on the wood paneling. More of his own virtual inventions and other stuff he's built in the game. Is there any chance I could get into Gabe's PlayStation for a minute? I asked. I wanted to see if it told me when he'd last used it or anything. Oh, that's gone, she said, and pointed at the space on the floor next to the TV. It's the one thing Gabriel took with him. He did? I asked while my thoughts went flying all over again. That explained what had been weighing down Gabe's backpack that day. So he'd been planning to leave home since at least that morning, when he packed it up, but he never said a word about it that day. I guess I shouldn't have been so surprised he took the PS4 with him. Gabe loved that thing more than anything else. Still, he still had to have it hooked up somewhere. That meant electricity and the internet. He couldn't just be squatting in some deserted building, even though that's what I'd been imagining. This also meant that his parents knew from the start that Gabe had run off on purpose, and they hadn't been kidnapped, or whatever else. Hey, stop, kitty. Go on. Go. Sorry. He couldn't just be squatting in some deserted building, even though that's what he'd been imagining. This also meant that his parents knew from the start that Gabe had run off on purpose, and that he hadn't been kidnapped, or whatever else. In which case, Detective Sutter would have known it too. It wasn't like I'd expected Sutter to tell me everything. She knew, but it did make me wonder what else they hadn't shared. I guess we all had our own secrets. I was back over by the window now and stole another quick look at Cedric, except this time I could see something was wrong. He was still standing on the sidewalk across the street, looking agitated, but when he saw me, it kicked up a notch. He was mouthing something and pointing really hard back my way, toward the front of Gabe's house. For a second I was like, huh? But only until I looked down and saw Mr. Qualls. Already he was coming up the front steps, and even though he was the person I'd been hoping to speak with that morning, something in my gut told me that Mr. Qualls wasn't going to like finding me already inside, much less in his son's room, poking around. And it turns out I was absolutely right about that.